You know what that is? That is the Samadhi or final resting place of possibly India's greatest king, Raja Cholan, who built some of the most incredible temples and architecture known to man, and who served an empire that lasted almost 1,000 years and stretched from Maldives and India and Sri Lanka and all the way to Indonesia. And this is its state: run down, dilapidated, taken over by weed and wild grass, visited by stray cattle. Let me now show you the second picture.
Yes.
And this is the final resting place of terrorist Yakub Memon, the man who killed 257 innocent Indians, some of them Muslims, Hindus, Christians and Sikhs. And this is the state: clean, well lit, jazzy, decorated, almost shaped into a memorial. If two images could define India, Rahul, define us, these are they. Nations weaken not because of their past, but rather by how they are taught it. And for 70 years we have been taught to forget historical injustices. From Somnath to Kashi Vishwanath, from Babarpur to Bakhtiarpur, from Allahabad to Aurangabad. These injustices have deliberately been visible, as though to lionize the debasement, celebrate the humiliation. We eulogize barbarians like Tipu, Aurangzeb, Babar, Khilji in what can only be described as a heady mix of hatred for Hinduism and love for jihadism, hatred for India and love for its breakup. In years to come, I am sure Yakub Memon's grave would become as popular a worshipping place as Aurangzeb's is today. Visited and prayed at by politicians like Owaisi. The same Aurangzeb who was Baghdadi 350 years before ISIS. The genocide he perpetrated claimed 4.6 million Hindu lives. He demolished thousands of temples, converted millions of Hindus. He abolished even Navroz. If a picture could speak a million words, it would be that of the Gyan-Vyapi mosque in Varanasi, built atop the demolished Kashi Vishwanath temple. If an incident could muster a million spine-chilling imaginings, it would be that of the one in 1675 under broad daylight in Chandni Chowk, where Seesganj is now, where Guru Tegh Bahadur was beheaded on the orders of Aurangzeb. And yet, we had cities and roads named after him. We have his tomb consecrated and turned into a memorial. 75 years have gone, Rahul, but we still haven't got independence from brainwashing and servitude. And that is why, in years to come, Yakub Memon would be celebrated just like Aurangzeb is. After all, tens of thousands attended his funeral, tears flowing down their cheeks. People will come and pray at his grave, seek his blessings. He, not Raja Cholan, Rahul, will inspire our future generations. And just to say, the last picture is this. This is the funeral of the terrorist Yakub Memon. Is there any panelist on this debate tonight who would say he does not condemn this? Tens of thousands of people attending the funeral of a terrorist Yakub Memon. Ask them, Rahul, ask all your panelists whether they condemn this or not.
Well, let me tell you, I know the answer, but let's go across. Let's ask Majid Haidri. And therefore I began, Mr. Haidri, with the Shiv Sena representative here, asking him whether he actually believes that a terrorist should be given this kind of treatment, that a memorial should be built for a terrorist. Of course, you are not a stranger to it, because Majid Haidri, in Kashmir, this is routine. What are you celebrating? Are you celebrating Islamist terror, bigotry? What exactly are you celebrating? Exceptionalism? What is it that you are supporting here, Majid Haidri?
Well, Rahul Sahab, I am not here to defend any terrorist. But being a strictly law-abiding citizen of the country, I want to remind you and the worthy viewers of two things. One, that while upholding the execution of Yakub Abdul Razak Memon, Honorable Supreme Court nowhere said that his mortal remains will be insulted, abused or desecrated. And Honorable Supreme Court nowhere said that he cannot be given a decent burial. And then the BJP government that time facilitated that thousands of people come to the funeral and offer namaz-e-janaza. So when you talk about what is happening as of now, BJP is also to be blamed if you say that it was wrong. But because law does not believe in emotions that we'll go for a sea burial or whatever you desire, law goes by what B.R. Ambedkar has laid down in the framework. It can't go by emotions. But now coming to this point, see, you cannot compare Yaqub Abdurrazak Memon with Aurangzeb, the man who laid the foundation of Akhand Bharat in the country, and who let my Hindu brothers be in majority. Instead of being thankful to Aurangzeb, Dr. Anand Ranganathan is trying to compare him with a terrorist, which is really bad, Anand Ranganathan ji. And then look at BJP, the party.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody
that is what
who
I'm
is
saying.
Involved in Mahatma Gandhi's assassination.
One second, Mr. Hydri,
No.
please. One second, Mr. Hydri, Mr. Hydri, Mr. Hydri. Where is the proof? Show me the proof.
No, there is a proof.
There is no proof.
Proof is there.
There is zero
he
proof.
Has a secret
He was totally, one second, Mr. Hydri, since you believe in the rule of law, then you must also follow it to the last letter. You see, laws are based also on something called spirit, ethics, morality. It's not just some technicality. Please understand. I don't know, sir, but maybe your ethics, your morality preaches you to go out there, individuals who base their entire existence on othering others. If that is it, I rest my case. If you think those people, anyhow, Dr. Ranganathan, no, I'm not getting into this. Dr. Ranganathan wants to respond to you. Since you took his name.
This is really bad.
Okay, so since you took his name on the Aurangzeb point, let him respond to you, Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, as I said very briefly, Rahul, as I said, 70 years from now or even quicker, Yaqub Memon will be worshipped and prayed at just like Aurangzeb is today, even earlier. And the proof of the pudding was in the eating that followed just a few minutes later when Mr. Majid Hydri said Aurangzeb was a great personality. Does he even know or understand history? What Aurangzeb perpetrated, demolished thousands of temples, killed 4.6 million Hindus? I mean, is this all a lie? And secondly, but I don't want to go into that because that is history. I want to ask him a direct question, Mr. Majid Hydri. I showed you the photograph of tens of thousands attending the funeral of terrorist Yaqub Memon. Do you condemn those tens of thousands people? It's a simple question. Yes or no? Do you condemn them?
Brother, it was a religious obligation which the government didn't oppose. The BJP didn't oppose that time. The law didn't oppose. So why should I condemn it? By virtue of which law, which section?
Religious obligation.
Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, he's not lying here. One minute. Let me step in. What Mr. Hydri is telling us. Okay, one second.
Violation of privacy of the Qabristan.
Okay, one second. What Mr. Hydri is saying is very important. I think we missed the gravity of what he's saying. It's a religious obligation, you see, to go out there and celebrate a person who raised the religious flag to seek revenge. From who was he seeking revenge?
Sir, a dead body is not a terrorist.
No, one second. Oh,
a
come on.
dead body is not a terrorist.
Right. He was not a terrorist. Please.
What?
Please, spare me. Please, sir. Please, don't do this. Don't do this tonight. You come from a very sensitive state. Young people are watching. They are watching you, Majid Hydri. Tomorrow you might move to another part of the country.
Sir, I am letting you know.
And certain people will apply. Certain people will apply. And this is...
And follow the law.
No, please. And this is something that we all must be very careful about. What we are today, viewers, endorsing through Mr. Majid Hydri is people in the name of religion exacting revenge. And then we are being told that it is a religious obligation to go out there and celebrate this.
There were 37 Muslims amongst the 257 people who Majid bombed. Yaqub Memon bombed. 57 were Muslims and there were children in there.
Brother,
and you are saying he was not a terrorist?
For having let the
and you are saying he was not a terrorist?
Will you condemn BJP?
Mr. Majid Hydri, yes, I condemn. Yes, I condemn BJP. In fact, I was going to ask
say
my
BJP Murtabad. What is stopping you from that?
One second. Listen. You can draw this equivalence, and yes, I have already pointed it out. I have listed an example where the BJP and the PDP bent over backwards to appease terror. I have pointed it out at the top of the show. But sir, if you are going to constantly draw equivalences and politicize this, we are only citing precedent to repeat another bad precedent.
The precedent has
Majid Hydri, answer this.
He will not answer.
These people.
Let's ask. Let's ask
Do you
Tausif Ahmed
condemn
Khan.
these people, Majid?
Let me ask Tausif Ahmed Khan. Tausif Ahmed Khan, do you condemn hundreds and thousands of people showing up for the last rites of a terrorist?
I condemn the government which I condemn the government which allowed this to happen.
Not the people.
You see, Kasab was
Allowed this to
convicted by
happen.
court.
So the people have no
Afzal
duty.
Guru was
कर्तव्य नहीं है
convicted by
उनका
court.
कोई
And
कर्तव्य नहीं है.
they were buried
Waj.
in undisclosed place.
Viewers, this is the same group that chafes
Ajmal
at the
Kasab
fact. And
was-
listen, no, 1 second. This is the same
I can't
group.
hear you.
This is the
Rahul,
same group. 1
stop
second.
interrupting.
1 second. Tausif Saab, I just want to make one small point to our viewers and I'll let you continue.
I know your compulsion
1
to
second.
defend
This is
BJP
the same. No
because
compulsion.
the
I am only
elections
bringing
are
out.
coming.
I will ask the
Bombay
BJP the
municipal
straight question.
elections
1
are
minute,
coming. I
Tausif
totally
bhai.
understand, Rahul.
Tausif
But
bhai,
you
1
have
minute.
to give me my uninterrupted.
I will give it to you if you give me 30 seconds.
You have given Anand Ganathan and
30
all BJP
seconds.
No,
supporters
don't
half an
take
hour
my name.
already.
I
Now
30
you are not
seconds.
even
Half an
willing
hour.
to give me 30 seconds. Uninterrupted,
अरे
that
भाई ये
speaks
क्या
about you as
आइंस्टाइन
an
है क्या?
anchor. Please.
Time is dilating.
Now give me
अरे ये तो
uninterrupted 30
आइंस्टाइन के बच्चे
seconds.
निकले.
Chalo.
Give me uninterrupted.
You take, sir, you take
That-
2 minutes. You take
That-
2 minutes, but answer the question.
Please do not interrupt.
Answer the question.
Ajmal Kasab, Ajmal Kasab was convicted. Afzal Guru was convicted by court, and they were buried by the government in undisclosed location. What government was that? It was Congress government. And this government, which is BJP government, handed over the body to the family, provided security so that he can be, because this BJP themselves were not confident about what they were doing. This BJP government did not consider Yakub Memon to be a terrorist, and that is why they did not bury him in an undisclosed location. They handed over the body. And now today they are raking this issue because there is corporation election coming in a few months.
Okay, so
This
first
is a
of all,
hypocrisy
okay,
purely for
Khan
the
Saab,
purpose of
first of
politics.
all, I agree
And
with you.
people understand this.
Khan Saab,
How, no
1 minute,
matter
I
how
agree
much
with
the
you.
BJP supporters today sitting in your channel
Okay, 1
try
minute.
to
Khan Saab.
reap political dividend for
Khan
BJP from the grave
Khan
of
Saab,
Yakub
Khan
Memon.
Saab,
But
Khan
the
Saab,
people
I
will
agree with you. 1 second,
hold
Tausif.
BJP responsible
Tausif
for
Khan
this
Saab.
blunder.
Tausif
It
Khan
is
Saab,
BJP
can
only who
you
is
allow
to be
me
blamed
to
for this
can you
blunder
allow me to
and
frame my
nobody else.
question?
It was BJP who was in the power. It was BJP who
Would you
did
go
not
and attend
believe
the funeral?
that
One
he
second,
should
one
not
second.
be
Want to attend the funeral?
buried in
Have we
a,
lost his audio? Can he not hear us?
It was BJP's.
He can hear us. So he's decided now,
And
he's now
today they are
decided
coming
to
and
just
playing
completely ramrod
in a
everybody
vote.
else. He's not going to allow me to
benefit in
ask the question
upcoming,
of Shehzad
municipal
Poonawala.
People-
Okay, he has removed his EP. Okay, he's removed his EP. That is what I'm being told. He's removed his earpiece because he wants to grandstand. But viewers, let me tell you. Yes, the BJP messed up, and I agree with Mr. Khan. Why should we even have marked graves for terrorists? Unless, of course, we are admitting that they are fighting a cause for a particular religion. We are told constantly in this country, terror has no religion. If that is the case,
Why should we have terrorists?
1 second, Mr.
That
Hydri,
should be the
don't go
question.
into philosophical questions here. You ask yourself this question. You please ask the people who fight in the name of Islam. You go and ask Burhan Wani this question. At that time you were calling him a son of the soil.
Yes.
Sir,
No,
we have
please,
seen
you
50
ask
shades
him,
of
you
terror in
ask
the
his
country, including
sponsors,
separate.
you ask, you
Why should we
all,
have terror?
if you
That is
have
my
this
humble
question,
question, sir.
Mr. Hydri, if you have this question, step out onto the street tomorrow with a whole bunch of your friends and your political, I don't know, those people
you
that
want
you
me to
subscribe to.
come to this
No, 1 second. You step out and you ask Pakistan, why does it export terror in the name of religion? Why does it produce
You want me
terrorists?
to come
You
to
ask
this
this
side?
question. You ask.
See, this is unlawful.
You
You are
ask.
asking me to decide.
There you
can't
go.
go on a
There you go.
suicide mission.
There you go. Because they have no confidence in their fellow adherents. They will kill them in the name of religion. Viewers, it will be considered blasphemy. But that doesn't absolve the people from celebrating a terrorist. The BJP messed up, and I want to ask Shehzad Poonawala, why did you allow this burial ground and this particular grave site? Why was this? I pointed it out to you. Mistake was made again with BJP and PDP?
Rahul, as far as Yakub Memon's burial is concerned, the Supreme Court had opened itself up at 2 a.m. to give him a special hearing. You remember those times. And after that, the Supreme Court came out with a very elaborate order on what needs to be done. Now, clearly, there is a set precedent which the Supreme Court has also spoken of,
this has
and
got
that
nothing
had
to do
be
with
followed. But
precedent.
that
This is
doesn't mean
this
that
no,
if
no, one
somebody
second. This has got
has
nothing to do
Bharat-
with the Supreme Court. Listen, I'm asking you a simple question. Demolish it. Demolish this memorial, raise it, flatten it, use the bulldozer, the favorite today equalizer of the BJP. Bring in the bulldozer. What's the big deal?
Really a core question.
I can tell you for a fact that the BJP government will not allow any shrinification, any smarification of this kind of grave, and this will not be tolerated under the
We are
BJP
waiting.
government, that is for sure.
We will
But the
wait,
question
we
is,
will wait,
that
we will
needs to
wait.
be answered. Yes,
No,
the question
see,
that needs to be...
No,
Of
no,
course,
one second.
There,
See, there are two
immediate
aspects to
action
this
that has
story.
been taken. But Rahul, the question is also, Rahul, there's an echo. It is already difficult for me to talk because of the echo. I won't be able to hear you because there's my own echo that's coming.
Okay.
Having said that, Rahul, I just have one question to ask. If terrorists have no religion, then why is there a need to go and do a makbara or a spot of martyrdom for these kinds of terrorists? Why do these people go for namaz-e-fatiha and namaz-e-janazah of these terrorists? If they truly believe that terrorism has no religion, why was it that they in fact demand that this is a right that should be given, because a terrorist, once he's dead, he should be given the rights? This is what Majid Hydari has said. But if a terrorist has no religion, then why do you want to even give him this kind of honor? Why do you want to give him even this kind of space?
That's the
It should have
point.
come from the community itself.
You see-
We do not want to give any space to such a terrorist because he does not represent the religion.
Viewers, two issues here. 1 second, Mr. Hydari, lower everyone's faded. I need to wrap out and move on. 1 second. Viewers, there are two problems here. Number one, the original sin of allowing this grave site. Number one. Okay, let's set that aside. But that doesn't absolve the people from celebrating a terrorist. What are they celebrating? I began by saying that it appears to me that they are celebrating the othering of a community, the Hindu community here. Because these attacks in 1993 were carried out to avenge, take revenge against Hindus. I don't think any faith allows this. And if Mr. Hydari says this is a religious obligation, then I don't know what he is representing tonight on this show. The other gentleman, Mr. Khan, doesn't condemn, now watch out viewers, doesn't condemn people from showing up to celebrate a terrorist. He says BJP is at fault. Yeah, the BJP is at fault. Yeah, okay, fine. Tomorrow, if the BJP decides to bulldoze, will they come out and oppose the bulldozing? That's another fundamental question, and I leave it, viewers, to Mr. Khan and Mr. Hydari to respond. Should this particular grave be bulldozed, Mr. Hydari? Yes, no?
It's for Honorable Supreme Court. or our
Supreme Court.
Constitution
Let's pass
that
the
we are
buck.
quoting.
Okay, Mr. Khan, should this grave
I would like
be bulldozed? Yes or no?
Don't run away. I would
No,
like
I'm
to
asking
answer
you a
this.
question. Yes, no?
I would like to answer
Should it be bulldozed?
I would like to answer this. Rahul, don't run away. Don't run away. Please
No one
don't
is
end the
running
show.
away.
I will answer this.
No one is running away.
Now, Rahul, since the suggestion has come from you that the government should enter with bulldozer inside the Kabristan, you must be the person who should go before the court and obtain that order. Because legally speaking, neither government nor court has any jurisdiction on this case now. The culprit found convicted has been hanged as a penalty awarded to him. And now since you are suggesting this to promote enmity between the different communities,
Mr.
you
Khan,
must
don't be
go
too clever
and
by
obtain
half.
order.
No, 1 second. No,
From
sir,
the
hang
court.
on. Don't be too clever by half. My suggestion is...
Come on.
1 second. No, let me speak. I'll lower your fader. Lower his fader. Let me finish here. Viewers, it's very, very clear. It's very clear. You cannot have a memorial of any sort to terror on Indian land. You can't. And let anyone come. and take me to court for this. In any self-respecting democracy, if you have a memorial, I'm not talking about a grave, I'm talking about the memorial that is being built. So let's be very clear about what we are discussing here. This particular site has been turned into a shrine, a memorial. That memorial needs to go. Dr. Ranganathan, yes, it needs to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think going forward, every terrorist should be either buried at sea or in an unmarked grave, so that people like Tausif Khan do not start eulogizing terrorists like Yakub Memon and absolving them of their terror acts in which Muslims were also killed. With what face is this so-called lawyer absolving Yakub Memon? I am horrified. Absolute, more than I am horrified by Majid Haidri. I am horrified by this guy Tausif.
Where is the
He is
law?
absolving.
If the
He is not
culprit has
condemning
already
people
been
who attended, they
convicted
celebrated the
and
funeral
put to
at the
death
funeral of
as
this
per the
terrorist.
procedure of law,
Because
then
in
where
his
is
mind,
the, option
in his
for
mind,
court
Yakub
or
Memon
police
is probably
or
a hero.
You are
People like
let's-
Tausif, Yakub
viewers-
Memon is a hero.
Let's absolutely, let's lower everyone's faders here. Dr. Ranganathan, you have a point. There is an issue here, and that issue is very clear. A grave is being turned into a shrine, and a shrine into a memorial. That cannot happen, viewers. If there has to be a shrine, it has to be for someone advocating peace, not the breakup of our country. I leave it at that, viewers.
In fact, we're joined now by a gentleman who in his long and illustrious political history has arbitrated on the rights of people, first as the district magistrate of East Champaran and Patna, and subsequently as a member of Bihar State Home Department. He is credited for the transformation of Bihar's infrastructure through the revamping of the scheme for police modernization, starting the scheme for prison modernization, and improving the conditions of the state's roads. A visionary when it comes to leading India's sustainability goals as well. Thank you very much, Rahul. Can I please request Mr. Singh for you to continue on stage and award the winners of the next few categories. With that, let's move on to the next set of award categories for the evening.
In fact, we'd also like to invite on stage philanthropist and chairperson of the Adani Foundation, Dr. Preeti Adani as well, to join the Honourable Ministers to give our next two awards. Ma'am, please join us.
Dr. Adani and Honourable Minister, can we please have you both on stage?
So, thank you very much. A very good evening to everyone. Honorable Minister Shri R.K. Singh, distinguished dignitaries, friends, my fellow jury members, and the amazing Indians sitting here. I'm delighted to be here today with all of you to honor and celebrate the incredible achievements and selflessness of these amazing Indians. We at Adani Group, we are extremely proud and fortunate to be associated with this great initiative. Has there ever been an award so aptly named as Amazing Indians? For a decade now, the Times Network has been presenting these awards. And these awards are being presented to some of our most deserving fellow citizens. When I hear of their feats, I am astonished each and every time by the lengths to which these very special people will go to help others. And in turn, they are helping the society. Our country has had to deal with a daunting amount of adversities over our 75 years of independence. We have struggled to free our people from the poverty trap. Millions of our people still grapple today with food insecurity, and they suffer from the lack of access to basic facilities, basic access to healthcare, basic education, and even basic opportunities to better their lives and their standards of living. India is amazing because Indians are amazing. And the stream of formidable challenges that Indians have stood up to and have overcome is indisputable validation that our people possess an extraordinary spirit of generosity, an extraordinary spirit of courage, an extraordinary spirit of resilience, and an extraordinary spirit of hope. However, sometimes I really worry that we might have taken this spirit for granted, and that have we become complacent, and in many ways are we failing to help those who really need us. Thankfully, much has changed over the past few years, and the great winds of change are sweeping across the nation at a rapid, unprecedented pace. For some time now, India has been moving in the right economic direction, and that has meant that we are in a better position now than we were in the past to harness the spirit of our people. While we celebrate the inspirational presence of these amazing Indians, we should also strive to build an India. To build an India which would not have to be so reliant on the amazing feats of our fellow citizens, but instead should be individually and collectively self-reliant, and that's an Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I believe that day is fast approaching when through the combined efforts of the government, the corporate sector, and the civil society, the people of India, from urban centers to the remotest villages, will have equitable access to opportunities. They'll have equitable access to all basic services and will be able to equitably fulfill their economic aspirations. That is the day we all know that India has, that is the day we will all know that India has become a superpower. A great country in which everyone is brought along to share and enjoy the fruits of success and prosperity. All that said, I'm extremely glad that the Times Network has built this platform to recognize the genuine heroes amongst us. The amazing people who are so driven to make a positive difference in the lives of others. The amazing Indians who have chosen to put others before themselves. Regardless of their own challenging circumstances, these heroes have chosen to devote their time, their energies, and even their dreams to making the lives of others better. Today we have been introduced to people like Abhishek Ray, who went out of his way to painstakingly build sanctuaries for helpless animals. Young crusaders like Soumyaranjan Biswal, who is rousing the community in a bid to protect critically endangered species. Our own Medicine Baba, Omkar Nathji, whose unique efforts to collect unused medicines from people and distribute them to the needy is benefiting so many people. We saw the social entrepreneurs like Mohammad Shah Nawaz of Khushi Baby, who used power technology for digital health solutions. Guardians like Pramod Kulkarni, who also helped to who almost helped 1 lakh runaway children or separated children unite with their parents, and kind-hearted professionals like Dr. Shilu Srinivasan, who is providing daycare centers for the poor, the elderly in slums and impoverished areas. These heroes and their efforts, their extraordinary dedication, hold all the evidence you will ever need to show that India is a great country and that Indians are great people. I feel proud when I hear such beautiful stories. Proud that there are so many amongst us with such huge hearts and such a strong desire to do their very best for our society, our nation, and our people. These people, these Indians, are as inspiring as they are amazing. And once more, I must commend the Times Network for telling these amazing unsung stories and highlighting these amazing Indians. The amazing Indians here, the nominees as well as the awardees, they set supremely motivating examples for all of us. They light up with their hearts our path forward. They show us all what it means to be an Indian. Their message to us is simple but enormously challenging. Can we all push ourselves, each in our own way, to make a positive difference? Think then of the potential that we would unleash. Think then what a country India would be. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. watching the News Hour at 10.
BJP Chief JP Nadda held a roadshow with party leaders and workers in Chhattisgarh's Raipur. The disengagement of Indian and Chinese troops from Gogra hot springs in Ladakh will be completed by September 12. This comes ahead of Prime Minister Modi's Uzbekistan visit for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. In the money laundering case revolving around illegal phone tapping of NSE employees, Enforcement Directorate filed a first prosecution complaint against Chitra Ramakrishnan, Ravi Narayan, Sanjay Pandey and ISEC Securities. Supreme Court declines to entertain petition seeking arrest of Nupur Sharma for alleged remarks against the Prophet. As the UP government conducts surveys, State Child Rights Commission wrote to Yogi government requesting to shut down unrecognized madrasas, reasoning that these madrasas are serving as ground for exploitation of children.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. Hour at 10.
Supreme Court will hear the Bilkis Bano case after 3 weeks, gave 2 weeks time to Gujarat government to file response. Controversy erupted after Hindu Mahasabha placed a saffron flag right above the national emblem in Shivamoga during Ganesh Utsav procession. TRS Gosha Mahal President Nand Kumar Vyas tried to confront Assam CM Himanta Biswa Sarma, tries to snatch the mic on a stage at a BJP rally in Hyderabad. The Royal Artillery Regiment conducted a moving gun salute of 96 rounds to mark each year of Queen Elizabeth II's life at Cardiff Castle. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II, King Charles III will be proclaimed the nation's new monarch at an accession council tomorrow at St. James Palace.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
updates. Union Home Minister Amit Shah flagged off the Freedom Rider biker rallies in the national capital. This is a pan-India bike ride by 75 bikers to 75 locations to commemorate the country's 75 years of independence. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Tokyo. They underlined the importance of closer coordination of policies. Indian naval ship Tarkash, that is on a voyage across 3 oceans over 133 days to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, arrived at Port Lagos in Nigeria. In a shocking incident in Patna, a group of policemen were chased and attacked when they went to raid some people who were carrying illegal weapons. 3 policemen were injured in the scuffle.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News Now Overnight, your one-stop shop for everything that made headlines in long and short. First up, the top 50. After Amit Shah breach in Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma's security in Hyderabad, TRS leader identified as Nand Kishore confronts him and snatches the mic away from the stage during a Ganeshotsav event. The man who created ruckus in Assam Chief Minister's public meeting, identified as a TRS leader, taken into preventive custody and soon released by the police. Anti-BJP protest break out in Hyderabad soon after the disruption. Rally was disrupted with anti-BJP sloganeering. Calling for every individual's contribution to the country, Union Home Minister Amit Shah says Kartavya Path is the way out of colonial legacy. This a day after Prime Minister inaugurated Central Vista Avenue. Voicing a strong objection to the Kartavya Path, Congress MP Jairam Ramesh in his tweet called it a pathetic attempt to divert, distort and demonize. Hitting back at Congress's stand, BJP spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla called out decades-old Gulami mindset of the Congress. After TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee boycotted the unveiling of Netaji's statue at India Gate, party MP Saugata Roy blames the centre for not properly inviting a chief minister. Calling out the centre over Kartavya Path, CPIM leader Hannan Molla said that renaming was nothing but a publicity stunt. As war of words over Yakub Memon's grave being beautified continues, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde says that action will be taken, directs authorities including Home Ministry to take appropriate action. In a sensational claim, former trustees of Bada Kabristan, which manages the affairs of that graveyard where Yakub Memon's grave was beautified, said they were threatened by Yakub Memon's kin in 2019 and no action was taken by the police despite a complaint being filed. Former trustee Jazil Navrane said he had lodged a complaint with Waqf Board as well before an FIR was filed in August 2020. He says even Waqf Board did not initiate any action. The former trustee of Kabristan alleged that Yakub's brother had threatened him after he turned down his demand to make changes to Yakub's grave. Yet another attack on the then government in the state, which was made of Aghadi allies. BJP's Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi reiterated that beautification of a terrorist grave was reprehensible and shameful. Times Now accesses exclusive 2021 court order which clearly states that Memon family cannot use the graveyard as personal property as it belongs to the Waqf. Times now also unearths pictures that bring out a Ghadi link in this case. Bada Kabristan chief, who allowed the facelift apparently, can be seen with NCP's Nawab Malik, who was Minorities Affairs Minister a couple of months ago. Meanwhile, Rauf Memon, Yakub's cousin, could also be seen with former Mumbai Mayor Kishore Pednekar. Reacting to massive controversy that erupted over her pictures with Yakub's kin Rauf Memon, former mayor of Mumbai Kishore Pednekar said she was unaware of his presence and went there as a mayor. Supreme Court has agreed to examine the validity of places of worship act, seeking centre's response in 2 weeks. And the top story that we're tracking for you right now happened in Telangana, where Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma's rally in Hyderabad had an uninvited guest, a man who tried to tear away the microphone from the stage where Assam Chief Minister was addressing a gathering from. He was there as a part of a Ganesh Utsav celebration. Here is what happened. The man got onto the stage. If I could request the PCR to play out those visuals for our viewers. There you see on the stage is Himanta Biswa Sarma with several other attendants of that event in Telangana's Hyderabad, where a man comes onto the stage, gets hold of the mic, and he's also seen shouting some words while looking in Himanta Biswa Sarma's direction. This man is swiftly taken away from the stage. He was later identified as Nand Kishore Vyas. He was taken away by the police. He was a TRS leader of that area. He was soon released as well. Here is what he had to say as to why really did he do this.
गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से पूरे गणेश विसर्जन का इंतजाम भव्य रूप से किया गया है। भाजनगर उत्सव समिति वाले जो स्टेज लगा रहे थे, जो प्रयत्न कर रहे थे, उसमें आसाम के सीएम हमारे हेमंत बिस्वा जी आकर बेवजह आप किस लिए आए, आप क्यों आए, आप धर्म के प्रचार के लिए आए, गणेश भगवान के लिए बताना, जुलूस के लिए कुछ बताना, ये छोड़ के चंद्रशेखर राव के लिए अब शब्द बोलने पर हम बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सके और हमने उनसे विनती की आप यहाँ से चले जाइए, हमारे सीएम के लिए आप कुछ भी बोले तो हम बर्दाश्त नहीं करेंगे।
There is a huge breach of security, and whoever has to be blamed, the Telangana police and the TRS government will be blamed. If at this incident, if something happens, definitely TRS, the government, the KCR, the government will be blamed on that. They will be made responsible because Assam CM comes under a huge security cordon. This shows that how the TRS party is becoming intolerant by the growing popularity of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state.
Hyderabad today with Honorable CM Assam, it's very simple. I think TRS and especially Cashier has forgotten Indian culture. Indian culture teaches us Otiti Devo Bhava. We respect people from outside. If somebody comes to our place, we respect. This is our culture. But now Cashier is learning Mughal culture. So that's why they have done this. It is very simple.
हैदराबाद में जो घटना आज घटा है, इसको कड़ी से कड़ी हम लोग निंदा करता हैं और मेनली तेलंगाना गवर्नमेंट का ऊपर हम लोग आरोप भी करता हूँ जे भारत में कोई भी एक चीफ मिनिस्टर किसी भी स्टेट में जा सकता है, उनका भी चीफ मिनिस्टर हमारा स्टेट में आ सकता है, हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर भी उनका स्टेट में जा सकता है। इसका मतलब ये नहीं जे आपका कोई कार्यकर्ता ने आके उसका ऊपर गिर जाएगा, वो उसका ऊपर धमकी डालेगा, ये कभी भी नहीं होगा। हम होम मिनिस्ट्री को स्पेशली एक रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, इसको कड़ी से कड़ी इसका ऊपर एक इंक्वायरी देना है।
There has been no security breach
for Himanta Biswa Sharma, but the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is also a BJP leader, has insulted Chief Minister KCRG with his political statements today, while Telangana people have been in a festive mood celebrating Ganesh immersion. Bharatiya Janata Party choosing today to do politics has been criticized by Telangana people, and KCRG's followers did not like Himanta Biswa Sharma using a festival as his platform to speak politics against KCRG. The platform which Himanta Biswa Sharma stood was erected by government of Telangana.
This fight is clearly not going to end anytime soon. Moving on, in a major victory for the Hindu side, seeking a judicial review of the law that they insist takes away their right to worship, the Supreme Court has agreed to review 1991 Places of Worship Act. The court has set the ball rolling on the review of the law that protects the identity and character of religious places as it was on 15th of August 1947. The centre has now been asked to file their response within 2 weeks. The ruling came on a slew of petitions that have been filed against that act, contending that it has illegally fixed a retrospective cut-off date, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the 15th of August 1947. The petitioners say that this is illegal, barring of Hindus, Jains, Buddhists and Sikhs from approaching courts for reclaiming their places of worship, which were, according to them, invaded and encroached upon by barbaric invaders earlier. The petitioners say the main objective of their plea is to set right a historical wrong. Meanwhile, opposing this contention, Jamiat Ulama-e-Hind had said that a review will spark fear amongst Muslims and open floodgates of litigations, as there are countless mosques in the country that the Hindu sides may then stake claim to.
आज मुस्लिम साइड शुरू से लगातार ये कहता रहा कि आप इस पे नोटिस मत इश्यू करो। 2 याचिकाओं पे पहले से नोटिस हो गया था, लेकिन वो कह रहे थे कि और जो फ्रेश पिटीशन पे आप नोटिस मत इश्यू करो। इसका मतलब मुस्लिम साइड के पास कोई और तरीका नहीं है काशी और मथुरा में या भद्रकाली में या भोजशाला में या जौनपुर के अटाला में उनके पास ले दे कि यही एक कानून है जिसके दम पे उन्होंने पूरे देश भर में अवैध कब्जा करके रखा हुआ है। आज उनको बहुत बड़ा उनके लिए सेटबैक है। माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उनकी बात को टाल दिया है और इस मामले को बड़ी बेंच को रेफर कर दिया, 3 जजेस बेंच को, क्योंकि ये मामला कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का इंटरप्रिटेशन भी होना है, इस मामले का नेशनल रेमिफिकेशन भी है, पूरे देश में इसका प्रभाव पड़ेगा। इसलिए माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट उनकी बात को दरकिनार कर दिया। और जो हम कह रहे थे कि सरकार कानून बना के कोर्ट का दरवाजा बंद नहीं कर सकती है, हमें राइट टू रिलीजन है, हमें राइट टू जस्टिस है।
See, the significance of today's order is that this matter will be heard by a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court on 11th of October. All the rival submissions, so far as the submission of judicial review is concerned, so far as the submission of taking away the rights of the majority community to approach the court, so far as the interplay between the Waqf Act section 40 is concerned, and whether Kashi and Mathura can be exempted from the purview of Places of Worship Act, all these legal submissions will be considered by the Honorable Supreme Court on 11th of October. If you approach the court, that's the most peaceful mechanism by which any dispute can be resolved. How can some party say that if you will approach the court, there will be riots in the country, secularism will be defeated?
If at all this becomes a stumbling block, it should be the 15th of August 1947. Say that either the court strikes it down or the parliament amends this law.
देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला पहले भी था और आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अगर इसे एक्सेप्ट किया है तो ये बहुत ही अफसोस की बात है। 1991 में एक क़ज़िये को, एक कंट्रोवर्सी को ख़त्म करने के लिए, जो बहुत तारीख़ी थी और जिसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरत शायद उस वक्त महसूस की जा रही थी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फ़ैसला किया। और उसके साथ साथ ये भी एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आइडिया था कि आगे इस तरह के रोज़ कोई इश्यूज़ ना उठें और देश का वातावरण ख़राब ना हो। आज देश का वातावरण इस वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब हो रहा है कि जगह जगह पर याचिकाएं जो है वो लगाई जा रही हैं छोटी कोर्ट्स के अंदर, और छोटी कोर्ट्स के अंदर बाकायदा उनकी सुनवाई भी शुरू हो जाती है। और सुप्रीम कोर्ट को अब इसका संज्ञान लेकर के और सही फैसला करने की ज़रूरत है।
How do you see this order today, Dr. Swami?
Oh, very encouraging, because the court has agreed to
examine the matter. Let me put the matter in legal terms, what you have explained in simple language. The act was passed during Narasimha Rao's period in September of 1991. Now, remember that the Babri Masjid was demolished by the mobs in December 6, 1992. So it was not a provocation of that. What Mr. Rao was trying to do is appease the people who are opposing the building of the Ram temple by saying this and no more. But the criteria he adopted unfortunately applies to two more very important temples. After a great deal of deliberations led by Swami Chinmayananda, basically three temples are where something is special. And that is, one is Ram Janmabhoomi temple where Ram was born, or that's what our faith tells us, that Ram was born. The second is Krishna Janmabhoomi, and the third is where Shiva himself came and planted brought in the Jyotirling and then built, and a temple was built around it, which was demolished ultimately by Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb also demolished the Mathura temple. So all that is being now said from my side, and I think the government is also of the same view.
Meanwhile, new damning revelations have now come to fore in the controversy that surrounds 1993 Mumbai blast convict Yakub Memon's grave being revamped. It wasn't just a random act of glorification, but pictures and videos that Times Now has now accessed seem to expose the terror patronage that was allegedly being provided by the erstwhile Uddhav Thackeray government. In the pictures on your screens, Aghadi leaders can be seen standing with the relatives of a dreaded terrorist and the chairman of South Mumbai's Bada Kabristan, where Yakub Memon was buried. Ex-Mumbai Mayor Kishori Pednekar's old picture has also come to light, in which she is seen with Yakub's cousin Rauf Memon. Two then Aghadi Mantris Nawab Malik and Aslam Sheikh have been spotted with Bada Kabristan head Shoaib Khatib. Another Shiv Sena leader, Yashwant Jadhav, who is now in the Shinde faction of Shiv Sena, can also be seen standing by Yakub's cousin's side. When Times Now confronted former Mumbai Mayor Pednekar over the pictures, this was her defense.
और कोई बुलाते हैं तो हम जाते हैं, उसका मतलब ये है कि हमने उनकी रीति रिवाज या एक्सेप्ट किया, ऐसा नहीं होता है। फोटो में है करके ये राजनीति करनी मुझे लगता है गलत है।
राउफ मेमन इन तस्वीरों में आपके साथ दिख रहे हैं, तो आपको जानकारी थी क्या कि वो इसी मीटिंग के हिस्सा लेने वाले हैं?
नहीं, मुझे पता नहीं है, मुझे फोटो दिखाओ, उसके बाद मैं कह सकती हूँ। मुझे पता नहीं है मैडम, मैं महापौर बनने के बाद कोई मेरे पास आए और बोले तो मैं गई भी होगी, मैं डिनाई नहीं करती हूँ, लेकिन झूठ तो कभी नहीं बोलेगी। मुझे मैडम, मैं एकदम सामान्य फैमिली की लड़की हूँ, बहू हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता। मैं जब भी महापौर बनने के बाद कोई मेरे पास आया हो या बात कर रहे हो तो मुझे नहीं पता।
और आपको जो लेके गया, जिस व्यक्ति का आप नाम ले रहे हैं, उन्होंने भी आपको नहीं बताया कि कौन कौन मौजूद है? मैम
नहीं, वो कौन कौन मस्जिद वो मुझे नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन मेरी एक आशा मामेरी करके जो लेडी है हमारी, वो लेके गई थी, ये पक्का है। यशवंत यादव भी है, और अब लेके मुझे गए।
अब अगर आप वो तस्वीरें देख सकती है तो आप बता सकती है कब की है ये
अभी बोलते हैं नहीं क्या, यशवंत यादव है, आशा मामेरी है, और उन्होंने मुझे मेयर करके लेके गए।
Put in the dock, the Aghadi government has pinned the blame on the BJP. They say it was the central government who in the first place gave instant approval for Yakub Memon's burial. Aditya Thackeray in fact went as far back as to say that why was the body not disposed like Osama bin Laden's was in the United States. Maharashtra Chief Minister Shinde now has promised to take an appropriate action in this entire episode.
पोलिसांना सूचना दिलेल्या आहेत, महापालिकेला सूचना दिलेल्या आहेत। याकूब मेमन हा देशद्रोही आहे, बॉम्बस्फोट मधला आरोपी आहे। त्याला फाशी दिलेला आरोपी आहे. त्यामुळे त्याचं उदात्तीकरण महाराष्ट्र खपून घेऊ शकत नाही. त्यामुळे कायदेशीर कारवाई जी आहे गृह विभाग करतोय.
12 आमदारांसंदर्भात कधीपर्यंत
12 आमदार करू लवकरच करू.
गणजी लेपल थोडा. थँक्यू.
महाराष्ट्र में भी उनका ही राज था, तो कब्र बनी कैसे और कब्र बनाने में जिम्मेदार कौन थे, उनका बॉडी किन के हाथ दी गई और उनकी जो अभी कब्र है जिसके बारे में यही कह रहे हैं, ये उनके कार्यकाल का ही घटना है और इसके जिम्मेदार वही थे. उसकी कब्र करने को इनके कार्यकाल में परमिशन मिली, ये देखना सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है.
Now, it's not just these videos that have now come to fore. There are more dirty secrets that seem to be tumbling out. Times Now spoke to 2 former members of the Kabristan Trust that manages the affairs of this graveyard, and what they reveal is sensational. One of the trustees, Parvez, in fact claims that in 2019, Memon only had a general grave, asking whether it was with money, power and threats that led to a special beautified burial place being provided to Memon later. They even alleged that they were being threatened because they had denied to approve that a special grave that was being sought by the cousin should be given.
हमको उसने एप्लीकेशन लिख दिया जिसमें एप्लीकेशन में ये मेंशन किया गया मुझे 17, 18, 19 नंबर की कब्र चाहिए, जो कि ये पहले से जनरल थी, इसके ऊपर दूसरी बॉडियां दफनाई जाती थी. तो हमने बोला हमने अलॉटमेंट नहीं करते क्योंकि ये इलीगल है. ऐसा इलीगल है, हम अलॉटमेंट नहीं करेंगे, ये हमारा बस में नहीं है. तो उसने क्या किया, हमारे पर हमको धमकी दिया कि मैं टाइगर मेमन का भाई हूँ, मैं तुमसे वो कर दूंगा और हमारे से फ़ोन पे बात कराने की कोशिश किया. हमने बात नहीं की, हमने उसके खिलाफ़ FIR की है एंटी करप्शन में. हमारे पास उसकी कॉपी है.
वो डेट के पीछे इसी कब्र के सामने खड़े हैं जिसके अंदर ना कोई काला मार्बल लगा है ना कोई पीला मार्बल लगा है. अगस्त 2020 में FIR होने से पहले मैंने वक्फ बोर्ड को कंप्लेंट डाला था. वक्फ बोर्ड ने जो है इसके ऊपर कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया. जिसको मेरी कॉपी रिसीव हुई थी अनीस मेमन करके, उनको मेरी कॉपी रिसीव हुई थी जिसके अंदर कोई अलॉटमेंट कोई रिप्लाई हमारे को ना बुलाया गया ना कुछ. उसमें मैंने सारी डिटेल लिखा था ग्रेवियार्ड का वगैरह वगैरह ऐसा चीज़ें हो रही है. अब इनके ऊपर नाम आने लगा तो इन्होंने हमको झूठा फंसा के और अपने आप को सीधा करने की कोशिश किया. झूठे लोगों को खड़ा कर देंगे, झूठी रसीदें बना देंगे और बोल देंगे कि इन्होंने बनाए. तो उसको प्रूफ जो है कोर्ट में काफ़ी टाइम जाता है और मेरे को आने वाले वक्त पे और अपने न्यायालय पे पूरा भरोसा है कि इंशाल्लाह इसका भी जो है फैसला होगा क्योंकि हमने उनसे कोई पैसा नहीं लिया, अल्लाह जानता है.
Moving on to a controversy that has been brewing in the national capital now. It has been over 24 hours since Prime Minister inaugurated the Central Vista Avenue as well as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's statue at India Gate. But all it has elicited from the opposition is derision. Senior Congress leader Jairam Ramesh in fact called it a pathetic attempt to distort, divert and demonize. Taking on the party over its criticism, BJP spokesperson Shehzad Poonawala said that this silence over an honor to India's patriots only betrays Gulami mindset of the Congress party and its hatred for heroes.
On the one hand, the entire nation is celebrating the unveiling of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's statue on Kartavya Path by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Congress party and particularly its leadership, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra, despite so many hours have not even tweeted or welcomed or said anything. This shows that the Congress party is so much in love with symbols of Gulami, Videshi, Parivarvad that they cannot appreciate even the statue of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose being given a prominent place which it should have been given decades ago.
The Congress is also persistent in taking the collision course after Kartavya Path, coming up with arguments like it is a difficult to pronounce name. But Union Minister Hardeep Puri, while speaking to group editor of Times Now Network Navika Kumar, said the objections have proven to be facile.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक बीमारी से पीड़ित है, उसका नाम है नामालाइटिस. नाम बदलो. जहाँ तक सवाल राजपथ का है, अब राजपथ के साथ तो बेशुमार यादें हमारी. आज़ादी के बाद भारत के नवनिर्माण की छिपी हुई है। राजपथ और जनपद दोनों नाम लोगों की जुबान पर थे, आसान था बोलना। अब कर्तव्य पथ के लिए जीप की बड़ी कसरत होगी, 2-3 बार उसे घुमाना टहलाना पड़ेगा, तब कर्तव्य पथ बोल पाएंगे आप। पर मोदी जी की समस्या राजपथ और कर्तव्य पथ नहीं है, महंगाई है, बेरोजगारी है, समाज का बिखराव है, सत्ता से छूटती हुई उनकी पकड़ है।
एक इम्प्रेशन है, कम से कम राजनीतिक इम्प्रेशन ये दिया गया है विपक्ष द्वारा कि जल्दी जल्दी में हुआ, ये एक वैनिटी प्रोजेक्ट है। प्रधानमंत्री के घर से बात शुरू हुई कि लोक कल्याण मार्ग बना, फिर इस स्ट्रक्चर में सबसे ज्यादा चर्चा इस बात की हुई कि प्रधानमंत्री का एक नया घर बनेगा और यहाँ कोविड चल रहा है, हवेली बनाई जा रही है, वैनिटी प्रोजेक्ट है। देखिए, आप बता सकते हैं कि आम इंसान को इसमें से क्या मिलेगा? गवर्नेंस का स्ट्रक्चर जरूर बदलेगा, आम इंसान को क्या मिलेगा?
देखिए, राजनीतिक दल किसी भी प्रोजेक्ट पे कमेंट करना, उनके लिए विरोध करना, वो भी आई थिंक इट्स एन अंडरस्टूड ड्यूटी।
वो भी कर्तव्य है?
नहीं, कर्तव्य नहीं है, पर वो समझते हैं कि दैट्स पार्ट ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी। और मुझे एक चीज पे सरप्राइज नहीं, मुझे वेरा इंट्रोस्पेक्ट, जब कोई राजनीतिक व्यक्ति, एंड आई एम चूजिंग माय वर्ड्स वेरी केयरफुली, वो किसी चीज पे पोजीशन लेते हैं, तो आजकल की दुनिया में सिर्फ आपका चैनल नहीं, आपके तो बड़ा वाइड स्प्रेड इम्पैक्ट होता है, शाम को सब लोग देखते हैं, बट वैसे भी आप किसी चीज को सोशल मीडिया में डाल दें, इट कैन कम टू हॉन्ट यू फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम। मैं ऐसी चीजों को आई वॉन्ट टू पुट दम इन द पास्ट, बट क्या क्या नहीं कहा था उन्होंने। अभी बोले कि उन्होंने कहा कि ये जो एरिया है इसमें जो ग्रीनरी है वो 30% कम कर दी जाएगी, और जामुन पेड़ जो हैं वो अप्रूव कर दिए जाएंगे। मैं आपको विद अ सेंस ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, मैंने आपसे पहले भी कहा है कि ड्यूरिंग द एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट मेरे कोलीग्स और मैं आते रहे, मैं आपके डिस्टिंग्विश्ड कोलीग्स को भी लाया हूं। जामुन पेड़ों के नीचे एक भी जामुन ट्री अप्रूव नहीं हुआ है। सेंट्रल विस्टा एवेन्यू से कल ही आपका कोई चैनल दिखा रहा था कि 400 पेड़ जो है अप्रूव होकर मर गए हैं, they did not survive the transplantation.
Time for us to take a very quick break, but on the other side we tell you the Dumka MLA who said that he was shopping for undergarments in Delhi when a girl was being hanged to death in his constituency today has come out with his defense, and believe it or not, his defense is even more shocking.
صبح چهارشنبه सुंदर थे. سلام عزیزمون اینجا اصفهانه. چهارشنبه کرمانشاه. اینجا رامسره. من از ساغر. ما در تهران هستیم مشغول پیاده روی بدون حجاب.
Welcome back. Now you remember the Dumka MLA who happens to be Hemant Soren, Chief Minister of Jharkhand's brother, Barsant Soren, yesterday when he was asked about where exactly was he when a girl in his constituency was hanged to death. He had very derisively said, oh, I had gone to Delhi shopping for my undergarments because I had run out of my undergarments. Today when he was confronted over that very statement as to how he could be so insensitive and if there was any plausible explanation for what he had to say yesterday, look at this man, not just listen to him, also closely observe his facial expressions when he responds to that question.
हाँ गए थे एक्चुअली हम पिछले ये भी बताए थे कि एक्चुअली मेरे अंडरगारमेंट्स कम हो गए थे तो अंडरगारमेंट्स खरीदने में दिल्ली चला गया था।
देखिए एक तो ये बात ऑफ रिकॉर्ड थी और चूंकि चलिए चला दिया मीडिया के साथी लोगों ने इसको, तो आप जैसा आप सभी जानते हैं कि 22 से लेकर के 29 तारीख तक मेरे कोर्ट के डेट थे, तो ये डेट्स थे तो इसी दौरान मैं दिल्ली था। तो अचानक में इस तरह का सवाल अचानक जानबूझ करके सवाल को करना बड़ा विचित्र है, तो बेतुका हो जाता है। तो बंधुओं से मेरी यही आग्रह होगी कि जब जवाब आपके पास है तो सवाल ऐसे ना कीजिए। एक ऐसी इतनी बड़ी घटना से आप मिल के आ रहे हैं, उस परिवार से मिल के आ रहे हैं, तो थोड़ा सा तो मन दुखी होता ही है। और चूंकि दो ऐसी घटना हो गई है तो मन थोड़ा सा विचलित रहता है। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में इस तरह का सवाल बड़ा विचित्र होता है।
No, what he said that is not. I think a government should take serious note of such things. Wherever women are under attack, it should be taken seriously and culprits should be punished.
दुमका के प्रकरण पे नेशनल मीडिया तक डिबेट हो गया, जबकि प्रशासन पूरी तरह संवेदनशीलता के साथ उस अपराधी को गिरफ्तार किया और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री ने भी इस पर संवेदनशीलता दिखाते हुए 10 लाख की मुआवजा और फास्ट ट्रायल कोर्ट में उस अभियुक्त की सजा के लिए घोषणा कर दिया। उसके बावजूद जिस प्रकार का प्रश्न किया जा रहा है विपक्ष के नेताओं के साथ, तो हमें लगता है कि इस पर थोड़ा सा भी विचार करना चाहिए।
Moving on, a Sarda chit fund scam in West Bengal has seen a sensational twist. One of the main accused, Debjani Mukherjee's mother, has now leveled some charges against Bengal CID. She says that it has pressurized her daughter to name BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari and CPIM leader Sujan Chakrabarti as beneficiaries of the multi-crore scam. Debjani Mukherjee, who is one of the key accused in the Sarada chit fund case, has been in judicial custody at Damdam Correctional Home in North 24 Parganas since April 2013. Her mother is the one who is now alleging that a CID officer had met her in jail on July 23rd and put pressure on her to give a statement that Adhikari and Chakraborty both received 6 crore rupees each from Sudipto Sen in her presence. Sarbari Mukherjee has written a letter to the Bengal DIG and Joint Director alleging that her daughter was being put under tremendous undue pressure by the West Bengal CID.
CID ঢুকে আমার মেয়েকে বলানো হচ্ছে যে সুজন চক্রবর্তী এবং শুভেন্দু অধিকারী দুজনে যে টাকা নিয়েছে সুদীপ্ত সেনের থেকে 6 কোটি টাকা করে, সেই টাকাটা নেওয়াটা ও জানে, দেখেছে, ওর সামনে হয়েছে, কিন্তু আদৌ ওর সামনে হয়নি, ও জানে না, ও দেখেনি। সুজন চক্রবর্তী এবং শুভেন্দু অধিকারী দুজনের সঙ্গে ওর কোনো দিন কথা হয়নি, চাকরি থাকাকালীন, জেলে থাকাকালীন, আজ পর্যন্ত এই 10 বছরে কোনো দিন কথা হয়নি। ওকে যদি না এই কথাটা বলা হয়, ও যদি এই কথাটা স্বীকার না করে, তাহলে 9টা মামলা ওকে দেখিয়েছে, 9টা কেস আরও আছে, সেটা ওর নামে দেওয়া হবে।
The BJP has gone all guns blazing after this particular allegation against the TMC, saying that they were trying to frame Suvendu Adhikari. TMC, however, being very refrained in their response, however, insinuating that there could be a BJP hand behind this attempt to give a clean sheet to Suvendu Adhikari.
Not just allegations, but her mothers have written a letter to the CBI where it is stated that the CID is compelling her to take the name of Mr. Suvendu Adhikari and is forcing her to take the names of other opposition leaders by saying that they were offered 6 crore rupees. So now this is very much clear that this is being done to pressurize the opposition, and this is being done at the behest of the state government because they are putting pressures on the CID. How come the CID is now stepping into the shoes all of the sudden and trying to step into the shoes of the CBI and then ask the witnesses and those who are accused in the matter, asking them to take names of the opposition leaders?
I don't want to make any comment on Debjani's mother's letter or the contradiction issued by CID, but I want to say specifically that regarding Mr. Suvendu Adhikari, he is trying, Suvendu Adhikari, you kindly point out that how he reacted yesterday. He was so happy and likely he was expecting something is coming to get some relief for him. Why that expectation was there? And I don't want to make any comment on the letter and as well as the letter press release issued by CID.
Moving on to Uttar Pradesh, where the Child Rights Commission has written a letter to the state government to conduct a survey and shut down unrecognized madrasas. This, remember, comes after the state's decision to conduct a survey to gather data on funding as well as facilities available in unrecognized, unregistered madrasas in the state. However, the panel has gone one step further when it asks for a shutdown. Now, why are they asking for it? It is because they claim that these madrasas are serving as a source of exploitation of children. The SCPCR member Suchita Chaturvedi, who has written this letter, also claims that the exercise of survey of unrecognized madrasas is being undertaken with the objective of ensuring that children's rights are being protected. They had earlier claimed in their letter that there are instances where kids have been found chained and were also being sexually harassed in these madrasas.
मेरा गुसाईगंज का, लखनऊ में गुसाईगंज एक स्थान है, वहाँ के मदरसे का निरीक्षण था। वो निरीक्षण इस आधार पर था कि वहाँ पर एक फ़ोटो वायरल हुई कि मदरसे से 2 बच्चों को, जो मदरसे में पढ़ रहे थे, उन बच्चों को जंजीरों से उनके पैर में जंजीर बांधकर ताला डाल दिया गया था। तो इसके कारण उसका निरीक्षण किया गया। जब उस मदरसे का निरीक्षण किया गया तो ये पाया गया कि वो मदरसा जो है वो गैर कानूनी तरीके से संचालित किया जा रहा है। उस निरीक्षण में ये निकल कर आया कि जो मदरसे हैं या तो उनको सरकार के पोर्टल पर होना चाहिए तो वो मान्यता प्राप्त हुए, और जो मदरसे सरकार के पोर्टल पर नहीं है वो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त हैं।
And here is what the State Minorities Minister Danish had to say about these developments.
हम सब मदरसों के माध्यम से अच्छी शिक्षा व्यवस्था अपने तमाम मुस्लिम नौजवानों को देने का काम कर रहे हैं और मदरसों को आधुनिक और बेहतर बनाने का काम। जांच में क्या लग रहा है? कोई जांच नहीं हो रही है, सर्वे हो रहा है और सर्वे हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के बेटर लाइफ के लिए, अच्छे एजुकेशन के लिए और उनके बेटर लाइफ के लिए ऐसे ही ईमानदारी से काम करते रहेंगे।
However, the opposition is not buying into any of those explanations. The government may insist repeatedly that they are only trying to modernize the madrasas, not shut them down. Opposition only sees in it a bid to clamp down on minority institutions of education.
दानिश अंसारी जिस तरह के बयान जारी कर रहे हैं वो ये दिखा रहे हैं कि मदरसों में जो बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं उनका विकास होगा, एजुकेशनली विकास होगा, मुसलमानों का सामाजिक विकास करेंगे, उसके लिए उन्होंने बजट भी इशू किया। दानिश अंसारी गुमराह कर रहे हैं। दानिश अंसारी जिस सरकार में मंत्री हैं उसी सरकार में एक विभाग है जिस विभाग में मोहतरमा चतुर्वेदी जी ने साफ कहा है कि हम लोग मदरसे बंद करेंगे, और दानिश अंसारी कह रहे हैं कि हम सर्वे करेंगे। ये सर्वे मदरसे बंद करने के लिए हो रहा है। दानिश अंसारी झूठ भी बोल रहे हैं कौम से और उत्तर प्रदेश की आवाम को गुमराह भी कर रहे हैं।
हम लोगों के नज़दीक जो गैर मान्यता प्राप्त मदरसे हैं उनकी कोई भी समस्या नहीं है, और जो भी समस्या होती है उसको हम लोग अपने तौर पर हल कर लेते हैं। एक आध कोई केस आइसोलेशन में आ जाए तो वो अफसोसनाक है, और जहाँ कहीं भी केस आया हो और हकीकत पर मबनी हो तो मुल्क के कानून के तहत जो भी उसके लिए ज़िम्मेदार है कानून के दायरे में रहते हुए उसके खिलाफ एक्शन होना चाहिए।
Perhaps the best way forward would be to investigate the exact precise charges that have been leveled by Sutita Chaturvedi. Their probe team, before the survey even happens, must go to that particular madrasa where those children were allegedly found to be chained and explore why did it happen, because it is very important that these young children's future is preserved. Politics can take a backstage in this case. That's all we could pack for you in this broadcast. Thank you for watching.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.